I was like so insecure about who I was, and I was like, oh my God, nobody's ever gonna love me, nobody's ever gonna want to date me because they found out that I had a sugar daddy or whatever it was. Like I was just like, oh my God, I'm unlovable now because I did this. And I felt like I kind of went and did this in Australia because I felt so free and fun, and I wanted to just explore like my dreams and my fantasies, and then it just like fucked up my whole life. Chemical X. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. It's your girl, Veronica.
And your other girl, Alessia.
If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Guys, today is a very, very, very special episode. Veronica's like, why?
Yeah, what the hell?
So on this podcast, we are out our life.
Yes.
Right? And, sometimes, for precautions, we're like, we don't want to say certain things because, one, we're either not ready to talk about it. One, it hasn't been enough time. The person is maybe still healing from it. There's a lot of people to take into consideration when we 100%. Talk about something.
People love our stories, but they don't realize that they're about someone. And that someone is probably listening.
It's so hard.
100%.
So my birthday, I finally want to talk about my birthday because birthday was in January. So you see how, long we hold our stories.
You're pulling this one really out of the bag there. A little bit of dust on
like,
it.
Alea, you running out of content? What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? So no, that just means it's juicy. It had to be saved. That's when you know it's a good story.
No, it's done with. That's what you know. If I'm ready to talk about it, it's done with. So in January, I kept saying to all my friends, I'm going on a trip. I was not working at this point. I'm like, I'm going on a trip. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going to be able to bring my friends. My friend Peter, who's clicking the cameras, is going, it's very weird because I did not get an invite. So I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I wasn't there either, guys. Don't worry. Not the staff.
No, yeah, not the staff. Sorry, guys. I had no plan. Like, I live life. I'm just like, it's going to happen for me. I'm manifesting this. Mm-hmm. When I went to Miami in December, my girlfriend that I was with had met a guy she was talking to. Mm-hmm. And at this point on, we were staying at the hotel. And he was like, and we were planning on going home. So now we were like, maybe we'll extend our stay. Like, we're trying to figure it all out. Because it was really one of those trips where, like, someone was like, see ya, I work on Monday. The other one was like, maybe I'll stay 3 extra days. It was one of those. It was one of those trips. And my girlfriend and I were on the same page. So comes the last 3 days, we're like, we want to stay longer, but like, should we stay at a hotel? And then the guy she was talking to was like, I have this sick crib. Like, come, like, stay the weekend. We'll like vibe. Crib.
What
like,
is this, MTV?
Actually, it was a very nice place in Miami. Huge, like 3 floors. Very nice. So it was like such a vibe. And like, we were like, okay, I'm down. But now she's talking to the guy, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm happy I get my own room. I'm like, this is a bigger place than the hotel. Not a problem. I'm fine. But it's always difficult because like, that you're not in this. So you're Gucci.
Well, it could go one of 2 ways.
Yeah.
It's either like you're literally baggage that's being brought along and like everybody's like, why is this girl here?
Absolutely.
Or you're skidding on by and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, but there's always a point where it's like, what are you doing here? And yeah, I will say that definitely happened a couple of times. And what's harder is like when your friend thought she'd be down for someone and now we're in this place and I'm skeezing by, but she's also like not interested in him.
That's horrible.
So now I'm like, oh my God, like we need to get out of here and go back to a hotel. But once you pack and you go, what are you saying after? Hi, sorry, we're just going to go back to the hotel. You can't reverse when you're there for 2 days.
Yeah.
So we were there and we tried to make the best of it. And the guy was super, super nice. And I think she just wasn't vibing him. She wasn't feeling it. And she's really hard at like, just like going with the flow. Like she just wasn't feeling it. And like he could tell. And it was just the ambiance in the house was just like
stale.
I can't even tell you like what a beautiful house. The kitchen was not touched. We were planning on doing like a whole breakfast. There was so many plans in these 2 days. Day we arrived, the table was set. Okay. He said he's doing shabbat. And I was like, okay, this could be fun. He's going to invite other people. So I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be cool because she'll get time with him and like I'll meet, a potential, Jewish bachelor, like who knows? So we're there and we're getting ready now. The table is set. Everything's ready, but like no one's there except her guy. So now I'm getting ready in the room. And I go up at a point. He's like, I'm just going to go run and get a few errands. So I'm just like, oh my God, I could tell you what the scene is right now. She's like, how do you know? He didn't even tell us who's coming. I'm like, I'll tell you right now. We go to the table. I'm like, these two are a couple, you and you. And there's like only one potential guy for me. There's not three. Don't think with the chairs that there's a couple of bachelors for me. There's one because there's a couple coming. She's like, how do you know? I'm like, I just know. So lo and behold, I'm getting ready. They're like, come up, like everyone's here. And that's exactly what happened. So there was one couple that was there and one potential guy for me. So
you had to make it work.
And he was super nice. As the next day was going by and like we kind of like hit it off and we were chatting, I feel like it was getting weird between my friend and the guy. Like I don't think she was down, and I felt like a bit of a burden to be there. So he was super nice, and in the morning he was like, why don't we go get a petty, like, and just like have a day to ourselves? And I was like, you know what, like I'm so down for this right now because I want to give them time, and also like let me get to know this guy, and like I'll go for a petty and a mani, not a problem. That's my ideal first date.
Holy, that's nice.
You know what I mean?
Sheesh.
It's like, even if I don't like the guy, at least I'm leaving with fresh nails.
Literally. But also like a petty and like manicure, it's like you really need to sit and chat though. Like you're not going anywhere. There's no distraction.
Which is fine because I wanted to get to know him too. So it was like, but my only thing was like my nail and petty, like we're doing gel here. This is going to be a little longer here.
Like I hope you're signing up for 4 hours.
No, he had no problem. He was going and get massages. His time was handled. Okay. And like really interesting guy, super successful, crazy story, but I don't really want to get into that. We'll do a whole other episode on that. And as we're at the petty, he goes, oh my God, like you're so pretty. Like I live right next to Design District and I have to go shopping. I have to get something and I'm kind of like in the mood to spoil you and get you something. So I'm like, wait, I get a mani, petty and a gift?
Well, that's a bit like, okay, finish up quick before he changes his mind.
No, like, you know what?
I'm going with missing a nail. I said French, but just do a regular color. I'm good. No top coat.
You know what? Just, I love the shape. The shape is beautiful.
You know what? I like my natural nails after all.
So he's like, I just want to like take you to Design District. And if anyone knows me, I love a good designer piece. And I will never say no to a designer piece. And I know exactly what Design District is because that's where, you know, dreams are made of and all the designer goods are. And I already have my list, guys. When you manifest, you already know the top of your list what you want next. I'm not one of those girls like, pick for me. Like, no. I have a list and I know what comes first, and it's a Chanel bag. It's a nude one. I have a black, I don't have a nude. Savage, this episode. Savage. Guys, you ask, we tell. So now we go and now he picks up whatever he has to pick up, and he's like, I want to get you a bag. And I was like, oh my God, perfect. Like I actually need a bag. So at least I didn't have to say the bag part. Like I feel like for a girl, there's two things: shoes or bags. Shoes I could buy myself. A bag's more expensive. That's 100%. What we're going for. So we go into Prada, and I think that's where he's guiding me more towards like Prada and Dior. So we're in those two stores. But I know, guys, that I want a Chanel. And if there's a time to get it, it's right now. There's no time to fool around.
Well, so he wants to spoil.
I go in Prada and I'm like, I don't really like want anything here. I mean, look, if you're going to put me in Prada and you ask me to get something, I know what I'm going to get. But like
I'll check my list and I'm sure there's some Prada article in there.
Absolutely. But like, I really want a Chanel. So we're in Prada and I'm like, I don't really like anything. He's like, yeah, same, me neither. And then we're like kind of going around and I'm like, I think like at a point I was just like, I think like I just want a Chanel. He's like, oh, okay, no problem. Why don't you just say it? Okay, let's go to Chanel. Let's hop on over.
You're like, actually, scratch that. Birkin. Thank you. Since the Chanel slid by so easy, I mean.
Holy shit.
You know when somebody says yes to something a little too easily and you're like, well, now I should have upped my price.
Yeah. So, you know, the thing is like he has no problem to go into Chanel, but now there's a line. And I feel like certain people who are privileged or like, they don't want to wait a line, and that sometimes could really fuck you over. So I was really stressing about that because I'm like, he might be like, oh, I don't want to wait the line. Do you want to go in here? Because the guy is just like, well, anything I get her, she'll be happy with.
Right.
So we're waiting in line and I'm like, oh my God, I really hope. Like, do you understand like the thoughts that go through a girl's mind when she's about to get a bag? Like, I'm just there like, obviously I'm leaving with a Chanel. This is insane right now. But like, what color am I getting? Do they have the color I want? Because I'm going in there and I'm going flat bag, classic, nude please, gold hardware.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
And they don't always have, like, it's...
No, and over time, Chanel became really hard to get, like, certain classic colors. So,
Well, now that they're $30,000 a bag, fuck.
so the anticipation of being outside in line, I can't tell you. Like, it was a very, like, like, why is he getting me this? But also, like, thank you so much. Like, what did I do to deserve this? But I also manifested that I'd be getting that bag really soon. So it was just so crazy. I manifested, but I also fucking flew him there. So we get in the store.
Yeah, like, is it manifesting if you literally just say, I want this?
Yeah.
I mean, we could say it is.
When it comes to Chanel, there was a couple of colors I liked, so I wasn't picky about colors, but I wanted to go in originally, and it was between a nice white one or nude, and then I ended up, they didn't have the exact one I wanted, but then they had another one with silver hardware, and I'm like, look, this doesn't happen every day. I'm going to take the nude with the silver hardware and shut the fuck up.
100%.
And as we're going it, he's just like looking at my reaction, and the girl's just like, yeah, you could do it like this. And I'm kind of like, yeah, like I know I have one already, and I'm just like so happy. And he's like, you like it? Do you want it? The sales girl is like, well, you know what's perfect with this bag? You know, a nice wallet to fit inside.
You're like, babe, do your job, sell, keep selling.
He's like, so then we're looking at the wallets, and like the bigger one I know is more expensive, and it just like didn't fit as nice. And probably any girl would have been like, I'm taking the more expensive one, but I was like, I just want like a nice card holder to go inside this bag. And they didn't have the exact, like it was the silver flat bag, but they didn't have the wallet hardware in gold, in silver. So I had to get it in gold. I was like, oh,
you had to get the card holder in gold.
Oh, shit. But my OCD was a little like,
I know what you mean though. You're like, oh,
why is it coming out?
Where's my Pinterest pic?
Why is it not like exact? Whatever, it's fine. So he's like, yeah, she wants the wallet. Like she'll take it. He's like, did you look around? Like, I mean, I'm like, okay, like I don't want to take advantage too though. Like, I'll just take the bag and the wallet. I don't want to take advantage. Unless what, you're at like $11,000. You want to take advantage? Oh,
you're humble.
You're humble. You took the card holder instead of the wallet. So lo and behold, she tied everything, like the beautiful bow Chanel comes in, and I walked out with a classic nude flat bag, and I was a happy camper. Okay?
Happy birthday.
So my friend's really miserable dealing with the guy, but she doesn't know I'm coming back with a present.
Well, I would actually fucking hate you if I'm with somebody I don't want to be with.
Yeah.
And you skated off with the free room and you're suddenly walking in with a Chanel. Like if I was there, I would be like,
nails
fucking bitch.
and fresh toes.
Yeah. No, go to the hotel and it's on you.
Literally, she's gonna like.
So can we just reiterate, you literally met this guy the night before. You guys just talked.
I met them the day before. We just talked. We were laughing. We hit it off. We went out. He's not normally somebody who goes out drinking, but he loved my vibe. So he came out, and he's like 28 years old, like just a super nice Jewish guy. And we hit it off, and not my normal type, but just like super like a brain, and just like I was like attracted to him, like, and yeah, and then that's it. And then the next day I kind of escaped my friend and just went with him, and I got a bag.
That's crazy.
And a wallet.
I've done a lot more for a lot less, let me tell you. Who knew a chat could get you a Chanel bag?
So I come back and I'm like so awkward right now because the guy that they're friends, right? Like they're friends, but like I don't think he really feels like showing the guy that like he's buying me a bag. And also then he also took me into Bond and got me 2 perfumes of $500 each. So like he spent a good like $12,000 on me just to say, hi, my name is so-and-so and I'm interested in you.
Crazy.
Like, yeah, hi, my name's Alessia and I'm interested.
Yeah, you're like, accept. Where do I sign my name?
Where, like, do you have a paper, a pen? Like, where? I'll sign my life away.
Business card.
So what do you do again?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's legal. He's a brain.
Once you get the Chanel, babe, your favorite color is my favorite color. Anything you want to do, I want to do too.
You love going for long walks on the beach. I love it too, honestly. What was really fucked up about all of this was the day before he was talking to me about his work and stuff, and we were kind of getting like, you know, getting to know each other, and he was telling me how his ex-girlfriend is his like private assistant and how, you know, like she has been for a while and they're just friends now. And then literally the next day after shopping, like afterwards, we end up finding out that she literally died.
That's insane.
So like just everything was just so fucking crazy. Like the way we met, like what happened, and then him literally showing me his ex-girlfriend, telling me what happened, and then the next day she got in a car accident with her new boyfriend who was driving really crazy and drunk, and they both died.
That's so like insane.
So like then
movie.
It was like very weird because then I felt like I was like, I knew of her because he told me, so I was like, I was like there for him. It was just a very weird trip, you know?
Yeah.
Then I also felt like, oh my God, like why did I just take a bag from somebody who just lost his ex-girlfriend? Like I felt very weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
do you want the bag back?
Do you want the bag back? Like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, very weird. But like it's one of those situations where nobody, you know what I mean? Like it's just nobody knows how to deal with something like that.
I know.
So you get the bag, and then what happens? Like,
well, you run away back to Montreal, and you hope it gets through customs without paying, you know, the taxes.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. If you had to pay the taxes, at that point, you just say, "Listen, I'm paying $1,000 for a Chanel bag," and that's it.
Well, I want to be honest with you. The taxes on the Chanel bag would have been 30% of the cost, and I'm gonna be real with you. 30% of a 10K bag is not 1,000. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
It's like 3,000.
Yeah.
So like I would have billed him at this point, right? I took the smaller wallet.
Oh, baby, you said you wanted to spoil me. I saved you money on the wallet.
And I didn't ask for
the taxes.
And I didn't ask for the perfume. You gave me that. You chose the smell.
Babe, if you want, I'll ship you back the perfumes. And if you could just forward me over the 30% tax.
So then I went back to Montreal, and my friends are like, this is crazy that like you just met him. And like I was like really like the thing is I wasn't ready to be in a relationship. It was still very soon after.
But can I ask you a question? When somebody meets you and right away they just do something like that for just no reason, they just met you, they buy you, like, do you ever think like, okay, why though? Because obviously it's not a normal thing to do. Like,
absolutely.
Not that it's abnormal, but it's just like not a common thing that would ever happen. So like to just spend that much money on somebody you don't know, like, do you think like, why are you doing this? Like, what's the catch? Because that's how I feel often when something happens that's like a little too good to be true. It's like, what's going on here?
Absolutely. I think the thing is that a lot of girls go into it like, I want you to buy me a Chanel bag. Mm-hmm. And the thing is I really just said, I'm going to spend the day with you. Let's chill. Like, let's get our nails done. I never asked for a bag.
Yeah.
The fact that he said like, I need to go shopping, and then was probably like, I don't want to get something, and like she's just there like awkward. Mm-hmm. So let me get her something. I think probably for him, he loves spoiling. That's his thing. Mm-hmm. And is it a little bit of a red flag? I mean, I personally will take all those guys with red flags. I'm gonna be real.
You're like, it's actually not a red flag. It's a nude flag with gold hardware.
Is the bag a way of trying to maybe allure me in to be more interested? Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Maybe.
Do I suggest you guys to be like me? No. But you know, look, if I sell the bag, I'll tell you what I get. 10 G's straight up, no wallet included. Those bags are going up every week. He bought me a fucking investment.
That's crazy, man.
So yeah, that's the story with that. And then after we kept talking, I think for him, I'm just trying to get people to understand where both our headspaces were at. I wasn't ready for a relationship. I was just really vibing and chilling with the single life and kind of just living on edge. And he just lost his ex-girlfriend. So yeah. It's a lot, you know, but we were still talking. And then from then on, he was like, I know your birthday's coming up. I was planning on going to Mexico.
Well, that's a bit like, if you bought me a bag for meeting me, what are you getting me for my birthday? Do you know what I mean though?
Absolutely.
Well, it's like any regular person.
Well,
when
you
buy
know what,
somebody
though?
a gift
you know what?
Every year, you
he
have
left,
to buy a
he
bigger
got me
one.
the bag and everything. He's like, I hope you enjoy it. Then bought me perfume. But he was like, wow, I didn't realize Chanel was like, that was the price. Like, I guess it went up from the last time.
I got news for him. They went up again.
That's the only statement. So I think he was thinking, he was gonna spend 3 G's on me, and he didn't realize that like he just met me. Hi, how are you? Slap the card. 12 G's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, what do they say? Set your standards at the beginning.
Set your standards within the first day.
I wasn't even thinking about my birthday. We were still talking here and there. I was kind of like, it's just a crazy story when his ex-girlfriend died. And then he was like, I really want to go to Mexico. I know your birthday's coming up and I really like would love to go away with you. This and that. And like, if anyone knows me, like my birthday, I love to celebrate it like with people I love. So I was like, I'm not sure because like I'm maybe gonna do something with my friends here or whatever. He's like, he was so open to the idea of me literally just being like, okay, well, you can have them come. And I was like, okay, I'm living in fantasy world. Like, this is like amazing. He wants to get to know me. I didn't feel like he was like using me. It just felt really like
genuine.
Like, and our conversations were genuine, you know, like it wasn't really like sugar baby vibes, you know? So then I decided to go to Mexico and I invited 2 friends to come with me. And we had an amazing time in Mexico. All my friends loved him. He's so chill. And I was so worried because, you know, the dynamic of like bringing friends and like hoping everything goes planned. And I always get like panicked of that because I can control my actions, but I can't control like
100%.
how my friends act. Or
you have to like put them in a room, sit them down and say, here's the rules, bitches. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but he was
very,
literally just like such a gentleman, making sure like the way he treated me was the same way he treated my friends, like so respectful. And I'm like thinking about it now and I'm like, why did I never date him? Like,
I mean, there's multiple things
that were going on and he's still grieving that. Like, there's a lot. Yeah. But so yeah, we went to Mexico and I was like, I wrote on my phone, I was like, I'm gonna be away for my birthday and I'm gonna be with friends. And like the fact that I was literally waking up in Mexico with my 2 friends on like the biggest, nicest fucking penthouse in Mexico, and like literally with the nicest guy, like just trying to get to know me, and like my 2 friends, I literally just felt so loved and so like appreciated. And it was a very crazy year. So like I was just so happy. Like I was like, I've never been more happy to turn 26. And like I think a super important thing is that he never felt like I was using him because I genuinely was like super appreciative of everything he did. Yeah. And my friends too. And anyway, my friends were just like, this is a crazy lifestyle. Like, Alessia, this is crazy. Yeah. And anyways, it was just amazing. And I just wanted to like share this story because I never really did. And I know we share like a lot of our lives and we still talk here and there. I think like timing is really everything. And another thing, like, I really came to the sense that like I am so focusing on like trying to get there myself that I'm not ready to just like have somebody who's like super successful and just like, because I saw myself going down that path. Like I date him and then I feel like I'm gonna lose me and then just get like persuaded by like material things that really at the end of the day don't really mean anything. You know, I knew that I wanted to be someone who was rich like him, so I loved the energy and I loved him, but like I knew that I still had a lot to work on myself and I wasn't ready to like start getting into that whole relationship and everything.
And I think also when you're with somebody who can provide so much for you, like subconsciously you kind of take a back seat on whatever it is that you're doing because you don't feel the time pressure or like the pressure in general of having to like make something of yourself, especially when you're like an ambitious person. I think I see so many people get into
like every guy like that wants an ambitious girl, but then I feel like when they have the money, they're also okay with the girl kind of just like, you know.
Yeah. I think the reality is a lot of successful people want somebody who is doing something, but then when you're with them, they're like, oh, okay, well, you don't need to do that anymore.
Well, I love you, like my credit card's your credit card.
And then I think once you have that ability, you kind of, you know, everybody works hard because they want certain things, and like a lot of the time money plays a big factor into success. Yeah. And I think when you're like ambitious and you're working towards something, like you need to have that drive of like building your success and making more money and all that stuff. And when you have it so easily and somebody already taking care of you, it kind of takes away from that. And even though you might still be working on your projects,
but it made my reality feel like, oh shit, I'm not grinding enough. Like I have other things I want to, and you know what? Like I'm not opposed to being with somebody successful who's still pushing me. I think I was just like, I need to do this part of my life alone.
For sure.
As much as this is the perfect and ideal thing. And look, so many girls would have went for it. And so many people would have just been like, this is my guy. Like, wow, treats me like a queen. Smart, young. Let's do it. I still was like, no.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's big moves for me.
But I think also that's like a different, like you said, so many girls would just say yes.
And that's okay too.
That's 100% okay. But I think a lot of the time people who have so much money like that, they want the person who's going to say no. If that makes sense. It's like when so many people will say yes, they want to find the one person who's going to say no. And then they feel like they have that chase,
Yeah.
So, but it's so crazy. And especially to be like a young guy, like you said, having all this money, like I think all those things play into like the way you are. And like I said, wasn't it a red flag that he bought you a bag? But then it's also like, you're young, you have all this money. At a point, it's like, what do you do with it?
It's so crazy. And like it didn't really end there. After Mexico, like obviously like we were still in contact, we were still talking, and then he lived in Miami. So I was like, I was taking a back seat on my projects, because when you're getting to know somebody, I don't care what anyone says, like it's time and effort, you know? So like I was putting my projects aside. I was flying to Miami. I was staying with him. We were getting to know each other more. And like at this point, like we're super comfortable with each other. Like I think for him, he was like ready to like probably date me. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa, I'm not at that state yet. And it just scared me from like everything I've been through. And like I just was not ready. And yeah. So that's really my experience with like getting something and like, manifesting it, and just like, and for anyone who has a sugar baby or whatever, like I'm just saying for me, like I never really had one. It was more just like, I kind of like am interested in like guys who are successful, and that was kind of my experience. So I kind of wanted to go to you now. You're like,
yeah, I'm glad you got your cute little story. You're good. So I think I've mentioned this. Actually, me and my boyfriend had a fight because he was like, you definitely said this story on the podcast before. And I was like, I definitely didn't.
You mentioned it, you skated around it. Yeah. But now we're super comfortable here. And
I mean, I didn't skate around. I just never really got into the full story.
And we also had a guest, so you didn't want to make it all about you.
100%. So when I used to live in Australia, which was like 4 years ago now, actually, let me backtrack.
Rewind.
Okay? When you're young, and I'm sure that everybody listening will agree with this.
Get them with the young. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like when you're like just getting into the dating world, you're single, like the first thing that comes to your mind when you're a girl who like likes nice things and like is interested in like the glitz, the glam, your first thing that everybody goes to is like, oh my God, I want a sugar daddy. Like I think I've heard every single person I know say I want a sugar daddy. But a lot of the time it's not serious. It's not, nobody knows what goes into it. Nobody like ever pursues it. People
it's
just
weird.
want somebody
it's like I always wanted that, but I never wanted it to be a sugar daddy. I just wanted to be like a rich boyfriend.
But see, like everybody wants that.
But then it's like, everyone wants that.
And that's the thing. Everybody says I want a sugar daddy, but then they don't want, like you want the young, hot, rich, successful.
Exactly.
So I just think
kind of like you had it and you still left. What's going on? Did he have 6 toes?
You good, babe? Yeah. So I think in everybody's life, at some point, you're just like, this would be much easier if I had a sugar daddy,
Yeah.
But I think we like just look past what that actually means. And like a lot of people never actually go through it or never actually, it's just like a fantasy that I think everybody thinks about, know? So,
girl or guy.
Yeah. And I was always like interested in that kind of like dynamic. I think it's so like exciting to think of somebody who will just like spoil you and give you all this stuff, I never thought it was really something that fit my personality, but at the same time, I was never opposed to it,
Yeah.
And when I went to Australia, I think so much changes about you when you're not in a place where you know anyone. I think you have this like sort of thing where you're like, I can really do whatever I want, and not only will nobody know, but nobody will care. Nobody will judge me.
I'll tell you now, everybody will know.
But it's just like, it's really this like free kind of exciting feeling where you can really think like, okay, what do I want? Like, is this something that I would actually want to try? You know?
And also, it's also depending the place you are in your life.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think like being in Montreal, like you want to dabble into things. Like, for example, you want to get a sugar daddy. You get a sugar daddy, you go on one date, everybody in Montreal sees you. You know what I mean? World travels fast. It's like you can never really try something because we're such a small, tight-knit city
And it's
that
like
everybody finds something out about you.
Try something, then you're labeled as that person.
And sometimes people just want to experience stuff. They just want to do things. So I think that's what kind of holds you back in your own city. And going to Australia, I just had this like clean slate kind of like freedom feeling that I was like, I want to try everything. I just want to like experience life and not worry about what people think or what people are saying, or not have to like be afraid. And like, I think in that sense, you really find out what you really want and what you don't want.
Yeah. So like the guy I met was never my sugar daddy, but also I think if this were to happen in Montreal, I'd be like, oh my God, no, you don't have to. Because in the back of my head, I would have been like, I don't want to be judged for this. Yeah. I don't want people to think like that's who I am. And like, I'm just doing this for like a materialistic thing. But like, obviously when you're out of your city, it's a little more like, okay, well, even if it doesn't work out with this guy, like he doesn't live in my city.
Right. You know?
So there's a little bit of that in the back of your
There's
head.
that like leeway. And when I was in Australia, Miami Beach. When I was in Australia, I wasn't like going into it like I want to find a sugar daddy. It was just like nothing is off the table for me. Like I'm just down to experience life and I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Right.
And that was like a really
I don't
cool
give a fuck
feeling.
what anyone thinks in Australia.
So it just was something that I had like briefly thought about. Like I said, everybody thinks about it at some point, fantasizes about it. So one day I'm working at the club that I worked at, and I see this guy who's at one of my tables, and he's like super well dressed, like design, like you could just tell he was like stylish, and he was like a little bit older, like I would say he's in his like 40s. And I'm personally not into older men. Like I've always been like, oh, I wish it would be so much easier if I was into older guys, you know. And I've just never been into older men, but he was so like stylish and cool that I was like immediately drawn to him. And I was like, there's something interesting about this guy, you know, like I gotta get to know this
What was
guy.
interesting? His designer pants?
Guys, Father's Day is around the corner, and there's one holiday that I always struggle to buy a gift, and it's Father's Day, and it's also my dad's birthday, because
It's daddy's birthday, but daddy's birthday also.
dads are just the hardest people to buy a gift for. Like they're happy if you give them a rock, but also they're very like, there's specific things that you can get them, and it's
I
five
feel like
things.
anything you want to get a dad, they already have. The only thing they'll
Or they don't care.
Or they don't care, but the one thing they always need or they can always use renewing is Manscaped.
Guys, Manscaped is the best in below the waist grooming for men, and you should make your dad join the over 2 million men worldwide that already use Manscaped.
And why do we say 2 million? Because there's more than just a daddy. There's, a sugar daddy. There's a daddy boyfriend. There's a bunch of daddies out there.
There's so many people to celebrate with on Father's Day, and maybe not just your biological father. So hit up manscaped.com, get him whatever he needs. There's ball toners, ball razors, shampoo, conditioner, if you want to go the conservative route, pretty much anything. And I'm sure that your dad will absolutely love it. And his balls will thank you. But I don't know if we want our dad's balls to thank us. So keep the thank yous to yourself.
And guys, we also have a discount code for you. And we know that you guys don't spend much on your dads and your dads spend a lot on you. But today is the day that you can actually get away with another discount code, so they don't have to know how much you purchased it for. So Chemical X at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. So you head on to Manscaped, you pop everything into cart, and then you also get free shipping
and 20% off. And if you're looking for another little gift to add on to that beautiful Manscaped gift, and you feel like being a little sneaky and finding your dad's measurements, then you can head over to izotti.com and get your dad or your sugar daddy a tailor-made, Italian-made bespoke suit.
I'll never say no to anything that's Italian-made. And that's
also
a fact.
tailored.
And
tailored is just, has to be good.
Like, has anyone not seen Kourtney Kardashian's wedding? Clearly, it needs to be Italian and it needs to be made for you. So guys, go to izotti.com and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off the whole site.
Well, no, I was just like,
His aura.
He really was somebody who stood out in a room.
Okay.
Like, just by the way he dressed, by his style, by the way he was. Like, he really just stood out in the room. And I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So we started talking and he was like so friendly. And he just like introduced himself. And I was like, oh, what do you do? And he was basically saying that he was a professional race car driver.
Let me tell you,
and
girls,
I was like, that
if
is
you're
so
going
cool.
after anything, I'll tell you where the money is at. It's a race car driver.
Crazy.
You know how much money it takes to pump into being one of those?
Holy.
You need to be born in it, baby.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I just
Unless you're Lewis Hamilton. Like, let me just confirm there is cases where you're not, but fuck.
most of the time.
Someone's going to come at me. So I'm just
100%.
like, I always have to clear.
So I just met him and I was like, whoa, like he's so cool. And he was like really sweet to me and was just really cool. And what I liked about him is that sometimes when you give older men attention and you're like young and fresh, they get really like overexcited and like want to take you out on stuff. But he wasn't like that. He was just like so cool. And I guess was probably used to getting attention from younger girls. So that was kind of interesting to me because I was like, okay, like you're not like this, like
You're not a dad.
weird old man. Like you're cool. So I was like, okay, you're cool. He gave me his number and I didn't think anything of it. And then I don't remember what our first date was, but I ended up like meeting up with him and we went out for drinks and I had so much fun. Like he was really the type of guy who just took care of everything. Like so, aware of what was happening. Like, do you want another drink? Like, let's go here. Everything was so seamless. And I was never had experienced something like that because when I had left for Australia, I had recently broken up with my like long-term boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So I was never really in that vibe of being spoiled. And it was just really exciting and fun. And then we just kept seeing each other and we weren't like really hooking up at the time because I was still kind of like awkward as to like, what is this? You know, like what's going on here? Because I know in my fantasy world, I'm thinking like, oh, look at this cool, like fun sugar daddy. And then maybe for him, he's not thinking the same thing of me. Maybe he's just like, oh, look, this young girl, like this cool girl wants to.
Right. Also, when you have girls like who are like kind of into you and you go and he already goes for younger girls, it doesn't necessarily mean like he needs to like spoil you.
The thing was just like, I think when we met, there was no kind of conversation in the sense where it was like that we like defined what the relationship would be. Because I think when you're looking for a sugar daddy, often people will go on like sugar daddy sites or something like that, where it's like very apparent that you're going to be my sugar daddy. So I think like right off the bat, like we weren't really sure what this relationship was going to be. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm so young and you're older than me. You're going to be my sugar daddy because you have money. Right. And in his head, he's probably like, oh, this girl's like, I'm just going on a date with this normal girl, you know? So we were like, you know, seeing each other for a while and he would just like take me out on like all these crazy dates. And I remember he had invited me to go with him to like a fashion week in Sydney. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And I was like, guys, a broke backpacker, okay? Like just to remind everyone,
yeah, like
I didn't come with my gown. Like,
you left to Australia with $5,000.
No, I left with nothing, okay? And he was like, invited me to this thing and he was like, and I was like, well, I have nothing to wear. And he was like, that's fine. Like, I'll take you shopping.
But did you say that seeing like if he would be like, let me take you shopping? Or it was like, I just can't go because I have nothing to wear?
Honestly,
what was the vibes? Like at this point where you
so
like you
long
knew
ago that I don't remember.
Okay.
Like I wish that I could
Let
say
me
I remember
tell you
what it was in the moment.
And it's that dress.
So he takes me shopping and like I said, I was never in this like feeling where I could just have whatever I wanted. So I was so awkward. And he brought me to Harrods, which is like,
yeah, the best for everything you want designer.
All cool designer.
It's like,
yeah, it's like whole run through. Brings me in there and he's like, okay, pick something. And I was like, and then the pressure's on.
You're like, the world is mine.
But like the pressure's on because you're like, I need to find something I like. And I'm going through the racks, guys, and I'm not finding anything I like. And I'm like, now I'm stressing because I'm like, I feel like, and I remember the store
and
was
he
closing.
Walking next
like,
to you?
he was like looking at his own stuff. He was like, whatever you want. He would like pick stuff up. He got the sales associate to come and help me. And like when we walked in there, it was like, oh, hi. Like everyone knew him in the store. You know, like he was really into fashion.
He brings a girl every week.
No, like for himself, he was very into fashion.
Okay.
So he had his personal stylist, like he had everyone. So it was really like all eyes on me in that store. Like, what would you like, you know? So they're just putting all this stuff
That's a
in my
panic
dressing
moment,
room,
though.
like champagne. Like it was very like, I'm just a backpacker with like one pair of sneakers. Like,
Yeah.
And I was at such a point, guys, in my life where I was so non-materialistic because I didn't have anything material with me, that being there, I felt so like, oh my God, like I'm not. Like if I would be me in Montreal with like my roots, I would have been more into it. But because I felt so far from that like materialistic glam self, I was like, where am I? So they're just like bringing all these dresses for me to try on in the room, and I'm like hyperventilating because I'm like, something needs to look nice on me. And I try on this Balmain dress, okay? Like literally fit me like a glove. And I walked out and everybody was like, okay, you need to get this dress. Like it's amazing. And I'm like, okay, no problem. But at this point, I don't know what the budget is here. Like in a store like Harrods, you could find a dress for like $500, but you can also find a dress for $6,000.
I'll tell you what's not $500 a Balmain dress.
Exactly.
$500 is like your average like Pretty Little Thing now.
Oh my God. And
Zara.
I was like,
$500 is Zara.
Exactly. So I was like, oh my God, like so nervous because nobody's ever bought me something before, like at that price especially. So I was so nervous, and I'm like, oh, like I think I want this dress. Like it's really beautiful. And he's like, okay, perfect. Like if that's what you want, like we'll get you that. And he's like, do you have any shoes? And I'm like, no.
I love this guy, man.
I know. He brings me over, guys, to the Tom Ford section. I go,
you're like,
I'll
well,
take those.
this. I know exactly what'll go with my shoe.
But like the cool thing is that he was so into fashion. He was able to be like, you should try these on. They're really nice. And it was something that was really nice. You know, it wasn't a guy who's bringing you in saying, do you like this brand?
Right.
Like he was like, no, come. Like you should buy these to go with your dress.
I always find it really attractive when like a guy knows how to dress. Mm-hmm. I think it's like really hot.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's always been
I don't
one
like
thing
when
for
it's
me.
too much and it's like they're overly into themselves. But I like it when a guy knows how to put himself together.
Yeah.
It's like I take the time to do it. Like you should know how to.
It's always been one of like the things that I'm attracted to in a guy who can dress. So anyway, so he gets me this whole fucking outfit and I'm like freaking out. Guys, I'm going back to my hostel. I'm living in a bedroom with 6 people in bunk beds. I'm paying $25 a night. And I'm coming back with a literally $3,000 Balmain dress and Tom Ford shoes. Like, who am I?
And who stole it at that hostel?
It didn't get stolen. I slept with it in my arms. I slept with the shoes on my feet.
But like at that point, I'd be even scared to come home and announce the news.
Well, at this point, I was really close with everybody in the room. So
you're close until they say she's sleeping. Her eyes are shut.
Guys, we're all good. We all agree. We'll split it 5 ways.
I'll put the pillow over her head while you take it.
No, that 5 ways they could have been good. You know, that's rent for the month. So I was so excited. So he flew me down, like sent me first class. Like it was just really a cool experience. And I was like, what am I? But at this point, I'm like,
and this
what
is
am I
before
doing?
Jack Harlow knew what was up. This was like.
And at this point, I will say, guys, like we hadn't hooked up or anything. I was just like going on dates, and I had explained to him, I was like, oh, I want to take it slow, because.
Does it make you a sugar daddy if you don't sleep with someone? I guess, yeah, it does. It's still the same thing.
Yeah. But at this point, I was just so stressed out because I felt like he was buying me these things and I felt like I had to give something in return. And I was just young. I was like, not young and naive, but I think, like I said, the terms of our relationship were not really clear. And I felt like, oh, like, cool, he's buying me this stuff. But like, oh, I kind of got to sleep with him. And I was just like so young and nervous. And then by the time like we did end up at some point like hooking up, I had overthought it so much. And I really made it like, I felt like I had to do this because he was buying me these expensive things.
But he never made you feel that way.
He never made me feel that way.
Which is not always the case with a sugar daddy. So I want to keep that in mind.
No, at all. It was actually me who made me feel that way. And I think because I put all that pressure on myself and all that, like, you have to do this. And like from the beginning, he was buying me stuff. I was trying to live my sugar baby fantasy that I felt like this is what had to be done. And then I wasn't vibing with it because I felt like I was doing it for something. Whereas if I would have just met him, we would have hooked up. It would have been a normal relationship. I don't think I would have had a problem.
No, Right.
But the fact that at the back of my mind, I felt like I'm doing this because you bought me this or because you did this for me. I felt like I was kind of giving up a piece of myself.
Right. Do you feel like if he was your age, you would still feel that way regardless?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
I think just the way that my mind works is I'm very like, I feel like I owe you something. And also, like I said, I was younger. So I really felt that pressure of owing him something.
And I think it's a little bit like Tanya said, you know, I'm sure like he probably wanted sex, but I think a lot of people, what they really enjoy is like that young energy.
Yeah.
It's the, you know, just the vibes and the spending time.
Right. But at the end of the day, see, here's the problem is that, like I said, we never set the terms of our relationship. So I don't think at any point he ever thought of himself as my sugar daddy because he was just having a relationship with me.
Right.
Whereas in my head, I was always like filtering it through this, well, you're older than me and you're buying me things, so you must be my sugar daddy. And there doesn't need to be feelings involved. So I think it became really blurry and confusing for me. And I guess even for him, because obviously in a regular relationship, you hook up with the person you're seeing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just normal. So it was like, it wasn't that kind of relationship where I could just be like, thanks for the bag, bye, you know?
Yeah.
So I really felt that pressure. And we saw each other for actually a while, like many months. And we were very close. Like, it was actually, I have to say, like, he was such a great guy. We got along so well. Like, he was so cool. But I could never get over the fact that I felt like I was doing it for money. And regardless of the fact whether I was or I wasn't, because at the time I had nothing. So there was not even a reason for me to be doing it. Like, he would brought me into Gucci. I'll always remember, he brought me into Gucci and he was like, pick anything you want. And guys, I left with a belt. Like, come on.
Okay.
You know what I mean though? Because
hold on a second. Like, you're making my story at the beginning look really bad, Veronica. I thought in this podcast we're partners. We're gonna try and make each other both look good. That's just like,
it's because I'm here a backpacker and I'm like,
one thing you probably could have got yourself.
No, literally. And I'm like, what am I supposed to, like, it was just so, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle the situation. I never was in a situation like that. I was so fucking lost. And I just felt like somebody brought me in, take whatever you want. I was like, I don't want anything. I think everything's ugly.
I think that's like super attractive though, even for a guy who's like, she's not like, you know,
I guess, but I don't
think a guy wants to ever feel like super. I mean, some guys love to be like, they want taken advantage of. But I think in his case, it was more just like a relationship kind of thing. Yeah.
But I also think like a lot of people will say, I want somebody to buy me stuff. I want somebody to spoil me. But then when it gets down to it, you have a hard time accepting it. And that was for me. Like, I was always like, yeah, oh my God, I want somebody to pay my life. And then when it came down to it, I wasn't able to accept it because I just felt like,
and it wasn't for me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you feel like it never feels the same, the gift, when it's purchased by someone?
Yeah. Oh, like the value of what it was is not the same.
I will never, like, I love my Chanel bag. I will never say anything bad about it. Like, I can't explain that there's nothing like buying something yourself.
Yeah. You just cherish it way more.
You just cherish it. You worked for it and you really, I mean, that's something I would have eventually got for myself. I don't know. I just think there's something like very like pat on the shoulder when you get it for yourself.
For sure.
I'm not saying no to
I'm not saying no to any donations. Now I've learned my lesson.
You're not going in there with a belt.
So we dated for a while, and guys, and like I said, I was literally living in a hostel. Like, he
what
would
else
just like.
Did he get? Didn't you get like a Saint Laurent bomber?
He got me what was cool about him is that, like I said, I really had a hard time like asking for things, but he would like just take me out for dinner and then be like, oh, I bought you this. And it would be like a Montclair jacket. You know what I mean? And like, he brought me skiing and he's like, let's get you a whole skiing outfit. And like, those things are just so fun for me. Like, when somebody says like, I'm taking you here, let's get you the whole fit. Like, that was like so exciting for me. Like, everything, the goggles, the gloves.
Did you know his age at any point?
So, okay. So
did he ever ask you your age?
So when we had first met, I had met him when I went to Australia. I was 21. So when I met him, I was 21. And I met him in the club. And often when I meet people in the club, I'll just tell you what you want to hear. So he asked me how old I was, and I said I was 25 because I figured, let me make myself seem a little older.
We're getting to the age where we're not doing that anymore. We're lying the other way.
Yeah. So I told him I was 25 when I was really 21. And I never really asked him his age. I just kind of like guessed. I just was like, oh, okay, you're around this age, whatever. And I just blocked it out of my mind because I didn't want to emphasize that he was older than me because, like I said, I wasn't into older men. I didn't want to feel weird in myself. So I always felt very, very guilty once our relationship progressed that I lied. And I'll always remember one time I was talking to my friends and I'm like, I have to say it. Like, I have to tell him the truth that I'm not actually 25 because I feel like I'm lying to him. And we went for dinner and he was like, oh, wait. And just in conversation, he goes, hey, well, how old are you again? 25, right? And at that point,
you had a chance to redeem yourself.
I had a choice and I still said, yeah. I'm 25. And guys, once you confirm twice, that's a two-factor authentication. You can't go back now and say, yeah, I'm 21.
Oh no,
it doesn't work like that.
That's like going through customs and you're going through with your life.
Like,
who paid for this ticket?
You just have to roll with it at that point. And everybody knows here on this podcast that I'm a shit fucking liar. So I was just like, I'm trembling. I can't deal with the weight of this lie. Guys, I want you to know that like it was a weight for me. Like I'm 20, like a weight.
I was like,
put my age 4 years, man. What a loser.
Veronica, shut up.
He's probably thinking you're old. You know, like poor guy's probably thinking, I wish you were 21. Fuck, oldie.
Literally. What are you trying to be older when he wants a young chick? Like the one time you don't have to lie, you're lying.
So I'll always remember, guys, he took me on this skiing trip and
her boyfriend just walked in the room. Let's see if her tone changes.
No, he knows the whole story. So I'll always remember he takes me on a skiing trip and we get to like the front desk and they're like making us our passes for the weekend. And I because I was carrying this lie with me, you know when you're like so worried about something that you try to like foresee every situation where you might have to lie, where it might come up, where the age might come up. So I already foresaw that this might be an issue, you know? And I'm letting him do his ticket first. And then he goes, no, come. I'm thinking he'll get the tickets. I'll just wait in the skates room. You know what I mean? Like putting on my shoes.
With your nice new Moncler jacket.
They go, no, we need your ID. I'm like, oh my God. So I go there and she starts asking us our info. And it's very like, you know, one at a time. And she turns to me and she goes like, oh, what's your birthday? And I'm like, well, now I have to say because I was so dumb.
You say it's January 22nd. No, babe. The year.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I did that. December 11th. She's like, what year? And dumb me. Like, I could have just calculated and put the 5 years up, but I said 1996. And I know, guys, at that moment that those words, those numbers came out of my mouth. What does everybody do? You start calculating exactly how old she is.
Absolutely.
And he's going, what? And then lo and behold, it's his turn to say his age. So I don't think it was very comfortable for him either to say his age because we're both there and this girl's going father and daughter, sugar daddy. What's the relationship?
You're overthinking it, but meanwhile he's like, I have to break the news to her.
Yeah. He was probably more nervous than me.
He was not even thinking about your birthday. He was sweating on his turn.
And let me tell you, once we got to his age, I'll tell you, until we got on that ski lift, I was going, what's 2018 minus 19? I was just trying to calculate
your gloves
the
are on.
age.
You can't even use the calculator. It's brain and brain only.
All I knew is that we were both different ages than we thought we were. And that was that.
Oh my God.
But that was just like hilarious. And we dated for a long time, but like I said, like I felt
how long?
really
You
guilty.
guys didn't date for that long.
No, sorry.
You didn't date though.
We were never a fish. We were always just like seeing each other. I was seeing somebody else at the same time actually. So
really. Be careful when you say you're dating. Who are you dating?
But it was never serious. Even on his end, it was never serious.
You never had the conversation where it's like we are exclusive.
But I don't even think he wanted me as a girlfriend. He was just like happy to take me out on dates, take me and my friends out on dates. He would bring us to Nobu, buy us everything. Like we just had a blast with him, and that was so cool. He even brought me and my best friend on a trip. Actually,
it's so weird because I don't remember Veronica saying, "Hey, would you like to come visit me for a week in Australia?" I don't know, man that I'm dating will take care of it. It's weird. Okay.
Well, if you want to, I was still living in a hostel, babe. Don't worry. So that happened, and
she's taking a Gucci belt, but she doesn't. I don't know. Be like, oh, you know, the place I'm staying at. Like, I'd love to move. Like, no, she's gonna stay at the hostel.
I was happy.
You were happy.
You know what? I was happy.
Take what you can get.
You know, I was just excited to be in this exciting thing, especially when I was so broke. And so, like I said, I was actually seeing somebody at the same time, which was long distance. We had met while I was in Australia and we like really were into each other. But then he went back to like where he was from and I stayed in Australia and we were like texting and we kind of had this like whole love affair over text. So with that, I could never even grow feelings for the older guy that I was talking to, because when you have feelings for somebody, it's very difficult for you to like take your emotions elsewhere.
I think that's for anybody. It's like when a girl starts like really seeing a guy, it's like whoever else comes around, like your head is just like, yeah.
And no matter how good we got along and everything, I could never take it to like an emotional level. And at one point we went on the ski trip and I was like talking to the guy that that was like long distance with. Like we weren't anything either. We were just like talking and we both like were into each other. And I was like really into him. And I was talking to him and he was like, oh, who are you with? And I was like, oh, well, I'm like with this guy. And like I kind of explained the situation. And he was like, what the fuck? Like you. And then he was like, well, have you been hooking up with him? And I was like, well, yeah, like we're hooking up. Like it's casual. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, and he like ripped me. Like he was like, that's so you have no respect for yourself. Like that's disgusting. Like I don't think that I can ever get over this. Like I can never look at you the same. I thought you were different. I didn't know you were like that. And up until this point, I never saw anything wrong with it because I genuinely liked him as a person and I genuinely had so much fun with this guy that it didn't feel weird to me. But when he did that to me, like it totally changed my perspective. And I was like, oh my God.
You're like, wait, should I be thinking more into this?
I was like, wait, am I doing something wrong right now? Like I didn't think that it was that deep on any level. Like I didn't think that it was this bad. And he was like, no, like I can never get over this. Like I can't speak to you anymore. Like I'm just, you're different to me.
Was this guy you were talking to successful?
I mean, he was like my age.
Okay, but like
so we were like young. You know what I mean?
Do you think the part that bothered him was that he couldn't provide for you? Like he could, so there's like a little bit of like
I don't think it was that. I just think a lot of men see a relationship that's like when as a woman, when you're with somebody who's like financially dominant and like kind of sugar daddy vibes, they get really insecure with that stigma. And they think, oh, you're selling your body, like, and all this stuff, which I was just having a blast. And when he put that on me, like I was like so taken aback, especially coming from somebody who you're really into and you have feelings for. Their opinion means so much to you.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And after that moment, like he made me feel so horrible and it just heightened my feelings of like feeling insecure over like feeling like I had to give to receive in a sense.
Yeah.
And also something that really bothered me about the relationship was that I always felt like it wasn't honest. I felt like I had to like kind of play a part and act like I was interested. And because we never had the talk of like, what are we serious? Are we not? Right. I never knew where we stood. And I never knew if I was like leading him on or like making him think he was going to date me. And I really just felt so dishonest. So after that trip, I like sat down with him and I spoke to him and I was like, I can't see you anymore. Like I broke up with him, like not broke up with him, but I just like broke it off with him. And he was like, oh, like I never expected like any sort of relationship or anything. Like I'm totally cool. Like if you want to stay friends, like I just had so much fun with you. And at that moment I was like, oh my God, like I totally overthought this whole thing.
Right.
And for like a long time after, I was so like depressed and like mad at myself for doing it because the guy that I was talking to, like a long distance, made me feel so bad about myself. And I felt so bad. Like I literally hated myself. I was like, oh, what the biggest mistake I ever made? What's wrong with me?
Really
I had no respect
and
for
you
myself.
Thought you lost. But you know what I realized about those type of guys who are making you feel like shit about something you shouldn't feel shit about is like, if it wasn't that, it'd be something else. So I'm happy you found that out like 100%. Early on, because this looks like somebody who's really not open-minded, who was going to judge you. Your whole relationship would have been a mess.
And I've always been a person that I feel like I always say like I'm difficult to date in that sense because I do things that are like not... that are just like extra. And like for him to shut me down so hard like that, I was like so insecure about who I was. And I was like, oh my God, nobody's ever gonna love me. Nobody's ever gonna want to date me because they found out that I had a sugar daddy or whatever it was. Like I was just like, oh my God, I'm unlovable now because I did this. And I felt like I kind of went and did this in Australia because I felt so free and fun and I wanted to just explore like my dreams and my fantasies. And then it just like fucked up my whole life. And I was so depressed for so long until I finally got over this guy. And I realized like, you know what? Like I had an amazing time. I have a guy that I'm still friends with him to this day. Like we don't speak anymore, but I just know like we have each other's back. Like he's a really good person and he really made an impact for like the whole time that I was in Australia. And he brought nothing but positivity to me. And I'm like, I should never feel bad about this.
Absolutely.
And when I met my boyfriend and when I explained to him like the whole situation, he was like, there's nothing wrong with what you did. Like, that's fucking sick. And I was like, you know what? Like,
only the wrong person will make you feel shitty about something like that.
And it's just so crazy to think like there was a time in my life where I was like so deeply regretful over something that I've done, which only brought me happiness. And I just thought it was so crazy how like other people's perspectives can really change how you feel about something, you know? So overall, at the end of my whole story, I realized that being in like a sugar daddy like sugar baby relationship or just anything that I felt like somebody was like giving me something and I had to provide, like I realized that it's really not for me. And it wasn't the last time that I dated somebody who was like that, but I can, and it sucks because I wish that I could be that person who's like, yes, spoil me, like it's so fun, but I realized that it's just not my personality. And I think that a lot of people think they could do something like that and wish that they could, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, like there's so much more to it, and it's so not for everyone. It's literally not for everyone, and it just wasn't for me. Like I actually could not do it.
It's so true. I feel like me too, though, because I'm so someone who, like, at the end of the day, I'm like a girl. I want my fairy tale. I want my love. And if I feel like I'm like having to kind of just like be fake or like have to put on a facade for a life to get something I want, I don't know how happy I'm gonna be with the bags just sitting on my house, or like, you know what I mean? It's like
100%.
But then it's like, yeah, the bags are nice, they're timeless, you know, like.
But I realized that it just wasn't worth it for me. Like, as somebody who I'm a really honest person, the fact that I had to not say that I was deceiving, but feel like I needed to deceive, or felt like maybe I wasn't truly being honest just because of the money factor, made me feel dishonest, and it made me feel like I was lying. And I just, I didn't care. I didn't care. I was like, you know what? You could buy me anything, but it's not worth it for me. It's actually not worth like the feelings that I'm having of feeling like I'm lying to you, or feeling like I'm not fully 100%, because the reality was, if you didn't have money or like you weren't doing these things for me, like would I still feel the same? And that's something that I could never get over. Like, yeah, maybe I would still be into you, and maybe we will still have hit it off, but I couldn't get over the fact that maybe I was just pushing this on in order to get something. And like it just didn't sit well with me, and it fucking sucked, but I had to admit that it just wasn't for me.
But you know what? Look, people go through life and they always wish they can have something, they want to try it and they never do. So at the end of the day, if you want to try it out and you want to do it, like, we're two girls, we're going to tell you, like, go for it, you know? I think there's a lot of measures that still need to be put in place. Like, I think it can still be scary when you're going and you're meeting an older guy who is like twice your size, or like whatever the situation.
Wasn't twice my size.
No, I mean, like, there's a lot of things to be careful. Like, when you're meeting someone for a first time, don't ever go to like someone's house, meet in a public place. Make sure that this person's kind of scanned in a way. You don't want to like find out that this guy's literally gonna like take your organs. You know what I mean? You still want to make sure that this person's like human and they're just like looking for the same thing you're looking for, you know?
I think that's the most important thing. And if I would ever go back in time and like try it again or whatever, or like for anyone listening who like wants to try having a sugar daddy or dating somebody like with money, I think what's really important is to be honest about what you're looking for. Or if you like lying and you like deceiving, then and you're good at it, then by all means. But I think it's really important to like set the tone in the beginning of what you're looking for in this relationship and what you're not looking for, because that was the biggest thing that kind of like made me feel not right, was feeling like, do I have to act a certain way? So I don't know, like, I just was crazy
so true
to me.
Because like even for me, like, the guy was not my sugar daddy. He just like was like a guy who wanted to spoil me, and I still in a way felt like I don't know, for me it was more just like, I don't like when I feel like I owe someone something because they got me something. So that's why I prefer just like not really to receive it unless, that's why I'm saying, like, if they're my boyfriend, that's no problem. I'll have no problem telling them,
here's
like,
my list, baby.
Here's my list. But it's like, we're comfortable. I love you. Like, it's not coming from like I'm trying to steal your money and bounce.
And that's where I see myself more being able to receive, because curveball, my love language is gift giving. Curveball, I'm saying this whole episode about how I can't receive, but let me tell you, I can receive. But I think it just has to be more genuine, and I need to feel like it's genuine. And I've always struggled with like not understanding, like, do I really like you, or do I like what you're bringing me? And
1000%,
you know, so I think to a certain part, I always kind of felt like, oh, well, you know, it definitely is a very big pro that I'm getting all these things out of it. So I kind of felt like you pushed a relationship on.
And I also feel like when you're dating someone and you love someone, you're not like, I have no problem telling my boyfriends or like whoever I'm dating to be like, I want this, but you also love them, and you're not like, well, if they don't get me this, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's more just like haha, babe, do you want to buy it for
Yeah.
me? Like, it's more like in a loving way. And if they don't, like, you're not leaving them.
Yeah. But anyway, so I just thought it was crazy. Like, you always think that you could do something. And then, especially me coming from like a background working in clubs, like, you know, kind of getting money out of people and hustling. Like, I thought I would have no problem.
And I think a lot of guys are intimidated by it, and it's normally the guys who don't have the money who are like, what the fuck, and they're the ones who are going to be insecure about a girl having a sugar daddy. But I also think, like, look, if you were a girl, you'd probably in some time in your life gotten a proposal or two, you know? And I can't tell you how many girls who probably thought about their rep and were like, you know what, I would love to, but I won't.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of other girls in the closet too.
Yeah,
I
the
think
closet.
when you're yeah, like they're not out. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I would love to try
Yeah.
it, but I'm so worried about what people
Yeah.
would think, you know?
And in
And
reality,
I think
don't
I'm
know.
a bit like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like I would probably love to do it, but I'm like, I don't want like the guy I meet or the guy I'm talking to be like, you know, it's a bit of that. It's like
100%. And that's what I'm saying.
stigma.
I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to do it in a place where I didn't feel like I had to live with like, because I'm a bitch at the end of the day. I'm a pussy. Like, I can't deal with the judgment. But I'm so glad that like I had the
But
opportunity
here we are
to do
starting
it.
a podcast, airing out our life, but we can't deal with it. I think we're just like skating by at this point.
I don't know what it is.
I
I'm
think
better now.
I think if you're dishonest about it, people hate you more. And if
Yeah.
you're open about it and you're like your sister, where she's like, I like when a guy buys me things. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you want to hate on a girl who just like is like true to herself and she's like, this is
100%.
what I want. Like, you can come at her, she's laughing with her bags, watches, like so.
100%. But I just think like I'm grateful for the opportunity to like ever have experienced it, because I think, you know, different circumstances, or for anyone else, like maybe that wouldn't have been a possibility, or I never would have tried it. I never would have experienced it. And I would have lived my whole life thinking like, oh, well, how good would my life have been if I just have met a rich guy? And I think I'm so grateful
Right.
because now I never live when I just realized even more so, like, this is not for me. I don't feel any envy, any jealousy for anyone else that gets things, that has that kind of relationship, or that values materialistic things and money.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I just realized it's actually not for me. And I don't even have a place for like feeling envious of other people when I see other people getting things and going on trips
Right.
and doing all these things. I'm like, I tried. I tried to do it and it wasn't for me. So I'm good. Like, and I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people will like live their whole life like, oh, like my beauty is fading. I could have had a sugar daddy. Like I could have done this. I could have. But then it's like, yeah, but would you have though? Would you have liked
Yeah.
it? Could you handle it? You
Yeah.
know?
I think my whole thing is like why I always like going for people who are kind of like successful, or just, it's not about always like getting things. It's just like like even just being in Mexico and the whole vibe, like just like signing his name on every fucking thing I was buying. Like I'm talking like in the boutique stores, like anything I was ordered. This was not an all inclusive. This was like, I was just tapping to the card, where to the point where like my friends were there, and to the point where he had to leave earlier for work, left us the penthouse for another day, ordered us jet skis. Guys, like I'm telling you, like I really went all out. Like I was manifesting.
Guys, I walked into Gucci and got a belt.
No, I was manifesting so much that I was literally, every time a butler would come, I tipped them extra. I was like signing his name. And while I was doing that,
Signing his name. Wait, hold on.
yeah,
Fraud?
because you have to sign for everything. No, I was signing his name, and I was just like manifesting. And this is so fucked up to say, but I know that this will be me one day.
Yeah.
And like when you're able to visualize it and actually do it, regardless if it's your money or not, I know that at some point, if I work hard enough and I am around people who are successful, then I can achieve what I want to achieve, and
Yeah.
I can have this lifestyle. And like it's so crazy, but when you're already doing it, it's like you're there. You just have to grind. You just have to find your passion, and yeah,
100%.
like it's crazy.
Yeah. And that's what I learned, is that I want that.
And really, you
that
can-
lifestyle, but I it has to come from me.
Same.
It has
Same,
to.
because if it doesn't come from me, I'll be angry every time I get something, because I'm always like, yes, I'm happy with it, but I want to be able to get it for myself. I want to be able to get to this day where I'm him.
Yeah.
So that's
100%.
where it comes from. And
sure.
sometimes you need to go through dating a rich guy, or you need to go through all that to be like, you get the taste of it, and then
Yeah.
you're like, this could be me.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So sugar daddies, would you have one or would you not? Or do you just call it, going for a rich guy? What is it?
Yeah. Like, I feel like he's going to watch this and go, wait, sugar daddy? I was
He's
your
like-
sugar daddy?
he's like, what?
Hold on.
No.
Anyways, guys, that's our little insight on being spoiled. So let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know if you want to be a sugar baby. No, but like honestly,
let us
like,
know if you want to be
if
the
you actually want to be a sugar, like really think about it and could you handle it? Like, would you be able?
A lot of
to
girls are going. A lot of girls.
I know a lot of girls who could, but also know a lot of girls who couldn't. So, I'm one of them. I could not.
I think the ones who really could are the ones who've got into a state of their life where they're like, I don't give a shit what anyone has to say about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, if you haven't fully accepted that, then that's when you're more like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's normally the people who are super open about it that they just don't give a fuck.
I think you also just have to be like very strategic and know how to get what you want and able to like manipulate in a way and just like, I'm not good at that. So it ain't for me.
Well, I'm a great manipulator. That I know for
Oh, we
sure.
know.
Okay, well, guys, bye, guys. Every guy is going, don't talk to Alessia. She's a savage. Okay, no, this is not looking good.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below.
Venmo us money.
Well, I guess not me. I don't know. What the fuck?
Yeah, guys, Veronica, we're going to give one email address because Veronica's not taking. She has made it very clear she does not know how to receive.
She prioritizes love. Send me a message.
Veronica, they send us 3,000. You're okay with $10? Because that's what you did at the Gucci store.
Guys, I said, what's the cheapest thing in here? Can you give it to me?
Hi, sales associate. Let me make you have the worst day of your life. I know that you're trying to get your target today, but I'm going to make it that much harder for you. When
Can I
know
buy
that
the
the
dust
guy
bag?
you're with will buy you anything, I'm going to choose a wallet. I'm going to choose a wallet or a belt. Oh, why don't you go for earrings?
But to be fair, I got like the most expensive belt. So, hey.
Veronica, please. That wasn't by choice. He chose it.
No,
he
I
was like,
chose
poor
it.
girl, I'm only getting her a belt. I better get her the one that's diamond studded. Fucking. Everyone going through your Insta finding the belt. Well, you know it's Gucci and you know it's not.
I popped a few sprinkles in there for you guys to go and search for it now. Where's Waldo? They're going Balmain dress, Tom Ford shoes, Gucci belt.
Wait. I know my earphones are off, but like also, Veronica got that dress and like, I'm not gonna lie, she came back and I had a party. I was like, babe, remember that Balmain dress you have? I'm going to a party. Can I borrow it? And it's like, you can't say no.
You can't say no. Now it's like, no, you didn't even buy this. You know what I mean? This doesn't even belong to you. Like, who am I to say no? I don't even own it.
Everyone's going, but Alessia.
Actually, going by that logic, I have an outfit that new Chanel would go great with.
But I've always been like this and like super like if my friends want to borrow anything, I don't care. And especially my friend really goes by this rule. She's like, if I didn't purchase it, like you can definitely borrow it. Like I don't
It
deserve
does not
this.
belong to me.
It's everyone's, baby. Sister out of the traveling
Community.
bag. But like also don't get it dirty. Like that's just expensive.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening.